DC here. Hi guys and gals. Well, hope you're well. It is Monday afternoon. It must be around 5. Actually, it's 5:15 in the afternoon. And yeah, I maybe would have done this vlog slightly earlier, but I got caught. Mrs. DC said you're supposed to do some cleaning with me. So I ended up having to do my bit as Cinderella, as the joke goes. So anyway, I did my bit of cleaning, and then I said, can I go off and do my tag vlogs? And she says, you may. So that was it. So here I am. So anyway, it's Monday, and yeah, it'll be as usual, doing a few tags. And in case you're wondering, I put on this hat actually for Jasmine because it comes from Marks and Sparks in Cork, though. And for those of you who have never heard the word or the term Marks and Sparks, it's just often it's a way of people over in the either in the UK or actually in Ireland as well. They will talk about Marks and Spencer's, which is basically one of my, I was going to say it was my favorite store for many things, at least caps and hats and sometimes a bit of clothes when I was over there. But anyway, we're not here to vlog, are we? We're here to do a tag. So let's get into it. Okay. So question 1. We got wind, we have some rain. Question 1. Oh goodness, here we are. So did I say hello, Jasmine? Probably didn't. I mentioned your name, but I probably didn't say a proper hello. So question 1. What would you like to do or see if you could deep sea dive? Ooh, that is a good question. Well, one of the things actually is that I can't really, I can swim but just barely. I know I can swim underwater though, yes. I'm not particularly fond of water, but if I could deep sea dive, if I knew how to, with all the tanks and able to, I wouldn't mind going into a zone where there were some wreckage, and I wouldn't mind that at all. And when I was a young boy, I was living in Canada then, and we were always on a big lake that was called Lake Menfor-Magog. And on Lake Menfor-Magog, there was an island. I think it was the one. I think it might be the one called Skinner's Island, or Skinner's Point was what it was called. Maybe I can't quite remember now. But it doesn't matter because there was a lot of smuggling at the time, and I would like to see, if there would be in the water, like because when there was the smuggling, that meant that most probably some things had to be dropped into the water, to be able to get rid of the evidence. That might be one thing. And the other thing is that there are legends there from North American Indians that there used to be the kind of the Canadian equivalent of Nessie in that lake. And there are certain parts of the lake where they said that Nessie had been seen. So yeah, why not? Of course, in today's world, I'd be much too scared and unable to do any of that. But if I could, why not? Okay, question 2. Well, it kind of goes in the same way. Would you go on a cruise? I thought about it at one point or another, albeit cruises are very expensive overall, so that might be one reason not to. I know that ships now are definitely more, I was going to say seasick friendly, for sure. I know many people that have been on cruises, and it's about 50-50. Some really, really enjoyed it and keep on doing it. Others actually didn't. They felt constrained and felt like it was going on a, as one person once told me, like going on a bus tour where you've got to follow and you have no choice and you're there and you can't go home. So I've heard that. Like I say, I've heard about 50-50. Others, talk about the great liberty and the food and all the rest. But anyway, so the question was, would I go on a cruise? Well, maybe a short one. Yeah, just to say that I had done it, that I had done something like that. Albeit, like I say, probably I never will, because I will use my money for other activities. Question 3. Do you enjoy meeting new people? Oh, that is a tricky question. I have extreme problems with small talk. And usually when you meet new people, small talk's involved, at least at first. I enjoy meeting people once we're past that barrier, or if I'm in a situation where we are able to get right into what I would consider an interesting discussion. So the answer is kind of yes and no. Like meeting new people, like, for example, in a networking situation, like after a conference and stuff like that, no, I didn't really always enjoy that very much. Meeting new people, I don't know, at a meal with friends, and you're introduced, and the conversation is led in a, I would say, a decent way. Yeah. And strangely enough, when I was working in a lot in Ireland, well, we'd end up a lot in pubs. Surprise, surprise. And we would meet a lot of new people there. And there, it was actually easy. Somebody will say, that's probably because you had a beer in your hand. And I'd answer that this is probably exactly the reason why it was a lot easier. And I think that it somehow took away the veneer. And you would just sit down and you might be chatting, or all of a sudden you'd be people watching together or stuff like that. Or there would be I'm not a sports person, but there'd be something called. Okay, that's enough. That was question 3. Question 4. If money was no object, what will you be doing right now? Well, I would not be taking a cruise, but maybe I would eventually. If money was no object, what would I be doing right now? Planning a trip to Ireland. If money was no object. And if money was no object, what am I doing right now? Probably planning the things that have to be done still around the house, something like that. So certainly one of those two things. But definitely I'd be planning a trip to Ireland. I think so. And of course, as you say, if money was no object, well, money would be no object. So I'd be probably doing a few other things that would be on my bucket list, but Ireland would be there for sure. Now, that was question 4. Okay, question 5. Oh goodness. If you could have your own TV show, what would it be? My goodness, I do not know. Maybe it would be me vlogging, I don't know. It's kind of amusing because we kind of have our own TV show. All of you vloggers and YouTubers out there, we just don't have any audience, but we do. I guess it would be, why wouldn't it be a talk show, but talking about subjects that I find interesting, and that the probably subjects that the mainstream media would not go for, but I'd have fun talking about it with people of different opinions for a decent and civilized chat. Yeah, it would be a talk show, I think. But like I say, we have our own TV show, and it's on YouTube. And many of us have had it for years. Yeah. Okay, is that it? It is. And I am up to 10 minutes, believe it or not. So that'll be it. So it'll be DC signing off. Take care, everybody. And I hope you're well. Thank you, Jasmine, for these questions. They are a bit more challenging at times than I could have expected, but they were. But it was fun. Okay, take care, everybody, and bye-bye.